Kaepernick works out for the NFL in the halftime of the Michigan spring game. He did his thing. He threw some passes. He showed off that arm. He showed off his mobility. It was good to see him out there. Good for Kaepernick, who's trying to make a comeback to the NFL after, we all know how he fell out, how he got blackballed from the league, and how, the league basically conspired against him to not get another job, to not get another opportunity. And, he was willing to die on that hill. And, props to him for being an activist, bringing all that attention, to problems that we have in this world. And, it sucks that happened to him, but I do wish that he gets a job in the NFL again. My only fear is that it has been so long since he last played. And when he last played, he wasn't like the best. He was already kind of regressing from those years where he was just a monster with his legs, a monster with his arms. He had that Shanahan system going. He was leading the 49ers to NFC championships games, to Super Bowls. And, he was kind of the driving force behind that on offense. We had kind of, been like a year or two removed away from that, where he was just kind of dealing with some injuries. His game was regressing. It kind of looked like the Niners were looking to move on from him a little bit, even before Kaepernick did his activism stuff and kneeled for the Star Spangled Banner and all that stuff. It did look like, we could be seeing like, the downhill of Kaepernick. So I think it is going to be tough for some teams to take a chance on him. Obviously, with quarterbacks, with potential, with the way the NFL works, getting weapons, adding gadgets to your team. Obviously, we see Taysom Hill having a role. Who's to say Kaepernick can't play a similar role? He's a runner. He's known for putting his shoulder down. He's had big runs. He's shrugged people. He could play that role. I think even still today, he's a better thrower of the football than Taysom Hill. So, there's a lot of teams. Some of the speculation is that, a contender that has established quarterback might just bring in him to be, a Taysom Hill kind of player, play that role as a gadget player that you don't know what's going to happen when he's on the court. I mean, on the football field. The Seahawks, I think that's the most realistic chance of him having a chance to play some starter minutes. They only have Drew Lock. This quarterback class that's coming out of college is very, very, mid to say the least. At least a lot of teams have different opinions about all the quarterbacks that are coming out. So we got to see how it plays out, how the Seahawks view those players. If they would rather, take a chance with Drew Lock, who may have some potential, take a flyer with Kaepernick, and those two would be your bridge quarterbacks till at least the next year. Maybe the Seahawks won't mind if even Kaepernick plays bad, because then they'll have a higher draft pick next year. If they even have a pick, I would have to check that because they've been trading a lot of their picks. The Ravens have been another team. The Titans sent one of the scouts, I think. Even the Panthers might throw a little flyer on them. But, all these teams, honestly, I feel like it's a long shot. I'm glad that he's trying to come back to the league. I'm always a fan of people trying to make a comeback, putting in the work and trying to come back into the league when it's been a couple years since it played, especially Kaepernick, who kind of got blackballed. Yeah, he was, like I mentioned, he was kind of on the downside of his peak when he got blackballed from the league. But he was still more than good enough to be a starter in the league, or to at least get a backup role. Like we saw, the way he was playing, it was like around the Baker Mayfield level. And obviously he's struggling right now to find a job too. But Kaepernick deserved a chance in the NFL, and I just hope someone gives him a chance. But my fear is that it's been too long. It's just been too long since he actually played an NFL game. He's 34 years old. But, quarterbacks play longer nowadays. And those years off might have helped Kaepernick. Who knows? Who's to say? I think the biggest chance he has of playing would be the Seahawks, who just have Drew Lock. Maybe they're not so hot on the quarterbacks this year. And they might just be happy to tank this season. They might just... It'll be good PR for them. Like, they'll be the team that gives Kaepernick the chance to come back into the league. And if he shines, if he does good, then great. And if he doesn't, if he plays decently and the team is just not good enough, then they get a high draft pick next year with the quarterbacks that are viewed as better than this year's draft class, and it's a win-win. But on and all, I'm just happy for Kaepernick trying to get back into the NFL. I wish him the best. I hope, maybe he has another one of these workouts and more team goes, and he gets into one of these training camp rosters, and he's able to actually have a decent chance to make the league again. But happy for Kaepernick, and I'm always gonna remember Kaepernick as with those epic duels he had with the Seattle Seahawks, like in 2012, 2013. Those playoff games, those regular season games were, man, those were some of the best games I've seen. That's one of the best rivalries I've seen as far as like my lifetime. Like those Seahawks and Niner games were so hyped up, man. I remember like the Sunday Night Football game, the playoff games. Those were all like just a pleasure to watch. So if he's back in the league, I don't think it's a bad thing. Obviously, there's a lot of people that like are so close-minded and still would like. There's gonna be so many people that if he does sign with the team, they're gonna be like, oh, this is the reason I'm not gonna watch the NFL. Like, I've been a loyal fan since 1942, but now that Kaepernick is back in the NFL, I'm gonna not watch no more. To hell with those people. I'm hopeful that Kaepernick makes it back to the NFL, and I'll be on the lookout to see if anyone signs him, because he did get blackballed and he deserves another chance.